I'm Chris from OR-Fab, and today we'll be installing a pair of OR-Fab JK Rock Sliders, the 84307, and we'll get started. So the tools that are going to be necessary to install the four-door rock sliders is a Allen tool set, standard preferably. You'll need a pair of vice grips, a magnet is very helpful, a 13mm wrench, a marker, a flat-headed screwdriver, a 13mm socket, and an extension. Ratchet is going to be very helpful, a 9/16 wrench, and a 10mm wrench. And then to drill your holes along the pinch seam, you'll need a 7/16 drill bit or a unit bit. Works really well with a drill, of course. First step for prep is there are two 10mm bolts that are here on the bottom side of the pinch seam that attach the front fender to the pinch seam. You'll have to remove the two lower bolts and remove with a pair of vice grips the two capture nuts that are on the back side of the pinch seam. So next, we'll be taking the pair of rock sliders, mocking them up to the pinch seam, and we're going to be marking two holes. So you'll want to line up the holes on the rock sliders with the existing holes in the body, and just use a marker to mark your holes. Your next step is to open up each hole on the pinch seam to at least 7/16 for your C-clips, and you'll just want to make sure that each hole goes completely through the sheet metal and that there's no burrs on the back side. The next step is we are going to install these C-clips right along the bottom of the pinch seam into each hole, and a flat-headed screwdriver is very helpful. Just be careful not to let it slip so that you don't scratch the paint. So the next step is you'll take the carriage bolt and our hanger that we provide, and a large washer and 9/16 flange nut. And you'll be carefully installing this into the body. There's a oval channel inside of the inseam of the body, and you'll place the carriage bolt inside of there. Place the washer like this loosely onto the carriage bolt, and then start your flange nut. And that way, once you get the rocker up onto the seam, you can go ahead and channel it against the carriage bolt, and that way, once the rock slider is all installed along the pinch seam, you can go ahead and tighten this bolt at the end. So your next step would be to, if you have a 2007 through 2011, you'll be installing these carriage bolts into the body seam behind the pinch seam, into the factory accessory holes. If you have a 2012 through 2014 model, you'll be using the 10mm bolts provided to install the rock sliders. So the next step will be to start your two carriage bolts, or to start your two 10mm bolts that are on the back side of the pinch seam along these C-channel brackets. One will be placed through this hole, and the other will be placed through the front hole. Now the easiest way to do this is to use a floor jack. That way you're not holding the rock slider too long. Place the rock slider on some wood and get it pretty close to the pinch seam. And that will give you a really good placement and allow you to manipulate the rock slider. Otherwise, if you have a buddy, you can have a buddy give you a hand and hold it up there as well.
Far away.
So the next step is you're going to go ahead and take your 3/8 by 1 inch stainless button head bolts, and you're going to either want to use a buddy and line up the rock slider right along the pinch seam, or go ahead and use the floor jack right in the center and get it mocked up and lined up with the holes, and go ahead and start your button head bolts. with the passenger side, you can go ahead and do the exact same thing to get the driver's side rock sliders mounted.
Hey guys, here we are with the completed Jeep of the installation of our rock sliders done by Chris Faustman. So we wanted to show you a couple things of the finished look and the product. You can see the 1 3/4 tube. It does stand out a little bit. It extrudes out, which makes it for great entry and exit of the vehicle. Just makes it nice. Get in and get out of the vehicle very easily. The other nice feature about it is that when you get in some of the situations when you're out wheeling and you'll come up in a rock and you may have a sharp turn to the right or left, this really does work well as a pivot point to help the Jeep maneuver and twist around the obstacle. So just a couple things besides the point of the whole coverage of underneath of the vehicle and the support you're getting. I'd like to show you one other thing that we got put on this Jeep is our 83227 full width bumper offset for the Warren power plant winch. It's a sharp looking bumper. We sell a lot of them, and there is 2 light tabs you might not be able to see that are installed right here, welded to the tube for either a light bar or the round lights. So it's your choice. Thank you.